And it's going to be something that's very liquid because, as I've mentioned many times, no other nonprofit has done this for these guys yet. So we're kind of the learning template and the tool moving forward. Okay. So the first thing, I'm going to take over the screen. Actually, I'm going to record, but I do see we do have Karen Egan on the call, and I believe and Beth from DPR. They're going to be helping us out with this.
And one
Got us recording.
while Chop's pulling that up, he said this isn't exciting. I disagree. This is a huge
The money making
opportunity.
is exciting.
This is a huge opportunity for us. So we are lucky that we have this, and everybody should be super focused on Chop's.
I just meant it's not exciting listening to me talking.
No, it'll be a riveting presentation.
Not what we're going to get from it. Trust me. I'm sick of my own voice at this point. Yes. Anywho, so what I'm going to do is I created a short PDF that I sent out yesterday. I'm just going to walk through that with everyone, kind of like the thought process so far moving forward and how we're going to kind of handle June 29th and June 30th. The first thing I do want to do is again, thank everyone for being on board with this. But Ashton, Adrian, Karen, I think you've already done it before. If you guys want to have a question to ask or see something I may like misspeak on or want to throw any of your experience into this as well, please stop me and do so. Ask questions as we move through it. I would suggest maybe waiting till the end because I'm going to cover as much as possible in the talk. And then if at the end of it, if you guys have any questions, we can kind of go from there. So the first thing I do want to mention, I'll screen share right now. Just so it's super easy, can someone verbally confirm they can see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. So under the H drive, this is just moving forward for anyone that may or may not be involved. We have our community auctions folder, and I'm going to start saving everything in master forms in here, right? So we have a master document, which will store all of the storage unit info that all staff will need to know. The stuff like in the Northeast and Southeast may be a little bit different. The local program kickback sheet that we're using, we're also creating one for Unified Champions Schools. Sorry if there's kickback. The tracker example, which I'll go through in a second. I have an inventory list that I'm just using, but the big thing here is going to be the weekly task lists, which again, I will get to. Every week, we're going to get a list of stores sent to us to the leads. Again, I'll get to it, but I will store everything throughout the year on this weekly task list thing. So if you ever have a question about what you're doing when you take something over, if you take something over, it can be found right here. So I tried to make it as easy as possible. I will not overload that folder. That task list piece will be the most important part. And also locations of the storage units and any other pertinent information you guys may need. So first up, all right, I got the training guide open, and if you guys want to follow along, that will be great as well. Page 1, I used my word art expertise and put our logo on there, so you guys are welcome for that. All right, quick intro. I've talked about this many times before. SOCO and Community Auction started our partnership last year, January of 2019, with 3 stores offering silent auction items that contain sports and entertainment memorabilia, right? So officially, just so everyone's on the same page, we're expanding to 62 stores total throughout the state. The Denver region itself is the 3rd largest market for community auctions, just so we know. So they're consistently uploading stores in contact with businesses. So it should be a pretty easy market to sell, as well as in our outer cities that we're going to touch. So just like I've said before, in 2019, the total of these 62 stores was over $200,000 in monies raised, right? Granted, we're going to have some expenses to work out, helping out with the local program kickback. It might not be that much. Hopefully it will when the economy gets back to normal, but that's what we're looking to do with this entire thing. So this is a huge fundraiser. June 29th and June 30th, I did send in an email invite, calendar invite out to everyone. Those are going to be our setup days. In all honesty, I think we'll be able to get everything done on Monday unless there's some kind of weird issue with a store. But the plan is to meet, and I'll get to details on this later. The plan is whoever's going to help that day, which I will assign, is going to meet at a specific storage unit at 10:30 a.m. And I sent that calendar invite out as well. So our plan is to meet there, tackle it as a team, load all the vehicles, and then go and set up all 62 stores in one day. And then we can rock and roll from there. So again, thank you all for doing that. We're in 7 markets total, technically. Fort Collins is its own market. Those are the original 3 stores we had. Greeley is its own market of 3 stores. Castle Rock will stay separate from the additional stores that we're adding to Denver. They have 3. Pueblo is currently in 3 stores. And then our new store lists are 10 in the Springs area, and then 20 in Denver North and 20 in Denver South. As you guys can see there, the storage units are in Littleton and Thornton. So scroll down a little bit. Just a quick note, 62 is our goal every cycle, but there are going to be times where we might only be like in 16 stores in the Denver region or like 18 stores in the Denver region. The max number of stores we will be in is 62. Okay. And I'll talk about that in a second once we get to the tracker. So what is Community Auctions? This is just a quick bio on the company. They're located in Arkansas. They offer silent auction items. I don't know how long they've been doing this for, but it's been a very beneficial partnership for not only us, but other nonprofits they have worked with. The stores we took over are actually from the Denver Children's Hospital, and they couldn't keep up with the work in their new model, which is the nonprofit itself taking over the bid refreshes and the setups. So our goal moving forward is that every Friday is going to be Community Auctions Day. So whoever has stores, your job will be to attend those stores, refresh the bids, set up a table if it needs to be set up, or tear down a table if it needs to be set up pending your assignment on Fridays. Okay. The reason we're picking Friday is how Community Auctions works is when we upload bid sheets into the website platform, which I'll get to, if we upload them on Friday, they get to them Monday morning at 8 a.m. and then they call those people to sell that crap till Friday at 5 p.m. Once that week is over, they move on to the next week. So they don't have a running database. Like if I signed up now, they're not going to call me in mid-July. They're going to call me this week, right? So that gives them 5 days to reach those people, AKA voicemails, return calls. That is how we can make the most money. That is why Friday is a crucial day. Monday is kind of the backup day. If you guys can't make it, if it's hard to get to a store, or if they ask to come on a different date, all that is okay as well. Just keep in the back of your minds, the more time they have to sell and push those items, because everyone wins, the more money we can make, right? As local programs, as SOCO, all of that stuff. So Friday will be that day. Monday will be sort of the backup day, because then it still gives them 4 days to sell that product, right? So I got a quick blurb here as well. Community Auction is responsible for all the business recruitment. They're responsible for all of the plaques, the memorabilia, all of those things, right? Sending us the task lists, shipping. If anything gets stolen or damaged, we're not responsible for that. That does not come out of our cut. They handle all of that stuff, right? So then what we're responsible for on our end is setting up at the beginning of each cycle, which are 6-week cycles, as I mentioned before, the bid refreshes weekly through those cycles, and then tearing down those stores and then resetting up the next cycle, right? So it really is a simple process. Once you do it once, it's very easy. It's just the time commitment, right? Which we're all committed to. So that's who we're responsible for. We do have leads, which again, I'll get into, and they'll kind of like pass everything down as we get to it. But I want to get into the timeline for what a cycle looks like. So a cycle is ideally 6 weeks of selling at one store. Okay. So week 1, as you can see here, the leads will receive a task list from Community Auctions. So real quick, scroll down a little bit. You got to worry about that. This is a task sheet or task list, right? Everyone can see that. Can someone verbally confirm, please? Thank you. Okay. So this is a task list, and if super self-explanatory. On the left, we have the business that we're going to be in. We have the Community Auction store number, who the contacts are, and then display type and comments. I wouldn't overly think right now. We don't have to worry about that. Everything is the same display. So there's never going to be a situation where it's like, we need an 8-foot table here and an extra plaque. Everything is going to be the picture that I show you guys in 2 slides, right? So on the right, you have the address for the location. And then this is what we're going to have to pay attention to, right? And the leads are going to know this stuff, but if you guys, if Maggie has 2 stores randomly for a cycle, this is what you're going to have to look at. So the action is either going to say refresh, set up, or tear down. Those are the 3 things that we're going to see, right? Refresh means you're just literally switching out the bid sheets, which is what we want. That's the easiest part of this job. Setting up, which is what we're doing on June 29th, is going to be actually setting up the tables to start the cycle for that store. And then a tear down would be, obviously, you're going to go collect the bid sheets, then tear everything down. and most likely you might have to set up. Sorry for the kickback again. So action date will always be every Friday. That'll be our date. So every Friday, that should be the date there. If this is an example of March 16th, again, this is just an example. It could say March 23rd. You know, depending on how organized you are, you can know that, or just wait for the task list the next week to make sure you're refreshing or setting up that store per se, right? So this list will get sent to the leads every single Friday. And then the leads and myself will track who has what stores, and then we'll push that list to those people. So just so we're not overwhelming you guys, SOCO staff is not going to get that list every single Friday, right? So if it's only 5 staff members helping along with the local programs, the leads will communicate that to their people every single Friday morning. Okay. Anyone have any questions on the task list? Okay.
What time does that list come out? Like, and how much time would people have on a Friday?
So we're gonna know. I'm gonna see if we can get it on Thursday. I'm gonna ask for it on Thursday night. He told me it'll be first thing Friday morning. For them is 8 a.m. So for us, it's actually 7 because they're Central Time, I think Arkansas is, or East. So either way, we'll have it in our inboxes by 8.
Okay.
That would be the toughest part. Again, if we get to it Monday, that's fine. And I'll get into some tips and tricks later on like when you should go do these things, because the times business is open are like things that people miss a lot. So we should have them first thing in the morning. I've pushed this to them too. This is just a personal note. This isn't our full-time job. So if they're bad on their end and like getting us stuff at like 4 p.m. on Friday, like we might lose money, but like that's also on them at that point. We're not going to go out any other day of the week. We're not going to revolve our jobs around this if they're being lazy or missing something or anything of that nature. So that's going to be on me and Kyle Borland, who is our contact there, to work the details out. So the first couple cycles might be a little off. So again, thank you for your patience in working with us as we kind of create our own system moving forward, right? So, okay, so here's our timeline. I just showed you guys the task list. That's the first step. We send it out to the 5 people that are going to help us. This is equipment needed for 1 store. So if you're setting up 3 stores, you need to multiply this by 3 and have this in your car. Easy peasy, right? So we have a folding table, which is in the unit, a tablecloth, which is required, 1 banner item, which we don't know what that's going to be yet, 1 panoramic item, which we don't know what that's going to be yet, easels, cords, and then 7 table items, which are the plaques, which will go on the table, 10 short dowels, 2 long dowels, SOCO signage, and then the bid sheet for each item. This is what we're building, okay? I wanted to show this first so you guys have an idea of kind of going through the process. So just as an example, we're in week 1, right? So step-by-step process is listed below. What we're going to do, the first thing you need to do is look at your task list, right? So if it said to call ahead of time, call that store manager ahead of time. I'm actually going to add this in here and I'll resave it. The first thing you need to do, if you have 3 stores per se, go online, see what time they open. That was my biggest mistake when I even took over Fort Collins. There was a time when I had 2 banks and a Texas Roadhouse. Banks open at 8, close at 5. Texas Roadhouse opens at 4 p.m. So I had to go between like 3:30 and 4:30 to do all my stores in one spot, right? So that is the first thing everyone should do once they know what their stores are, right? June 29th, I will do all of that. I'm going to go through all 60 stores, write the opening time, make it as easy as possible for everyone. So when I tell you what store to do, you know exactly what to do and when to do it, okay? But here's a step-by-step process of building the table. Again, you'll go to the store, you'll contact the contact that's on that task sheet. Hey, I'm with Community Auctions and Special Olympics. I need to talk to Mel. We're supposed to set up a table today. So you go in, you set up the table and the tablecloth. And then I'm not going to walk through each one of these steps, but you're going to build this, right? And then as you scroll through all of this down here, you're going to know how to set up each aspect of that, right? So we have 1 banner item like I have in the equipment list. This is how we're going to set that up to the left or right of the table. We have 1 panel item, which is in front of the table, right here. This is the equipment you need for that. So the 2 short dowels, the long panel piece, and again, all of this will be in the storage unit, ready to go. And then a bungee cord to hold it. And then the table itself, literally a step-by-step process. We used to have these cardboard like A-frames that were awful. These wooden things that they built are phenomenal now. Everything stays up. Everything doesn't move off the table. And they also actually lessened how many plaques we have on the table. We used to have like 9 or 10 and it was just sloppy looking. So this new setup is going to be way easier, way more efficient. It just might take up a little more room in your car, right? So plan ahead for that. So this is how you build the table. And then this is also really great. This sign right here, I know it's kind of hard to see on this document, but it has the community auctions logo, but our logo is going to be front and center, taking up a third of the table. Last year and leading up to this, our logo was like 4 by 4 inches on the top of like a very small, like kind of plaque thing. This is going to be way better for us. So that's what you'll use the long dowels for. You just Velcro it right on there. And then your final setup, will look like this, right? So ideal situation example, Maggie has her store. She's going into a rock bottom restaurant. They open at 11 for lunch. So she goes in, she talks to Megan, the manager. She tells her where to put the table. Maggie, and if she has to help her that day, set up. It should take about 5 minutes once you get used to it. What's my next step, right? So you need to upload everything, no matter what you do every week, into the community auctions web-based platform, because that's how they manage everything. So I have all of that information here. Right? So here's the website for all uploads. And then pending what region you're in, that's the login information you're going to use. As you can see, the password is 1234 for every single one of them. But when you go back to that task list, it actually says Denver North, Denver South, or Colorado Springs. Okay. The other 4 regions that are just 3 stores, the regional managers will handle those. We'll never have to worry about that. These are the 3 that staff will have to worry about if they're doing this. So it's always going to be here. So see if we can pull this up real quick. That means. So the table's set up. Maggie's getting ready to leave. She sets the bid sheets down. Everything's good to go.
You have to share the screen if you want us to see it.
You can't see it now? What the heck?
Well, you just shared the document if you want to share the web page itself.
Yeah. I'm going to it. Where is it? Okay. Confirmation, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the web page, right? So I'm going to go back to the PDF for the login. Let's say I'm doing Denver North, which is the Thornton storage area. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to log in here with 1, 2, 3, 4, enter. Great. Okay, so here you go. So you have enter bids or perform action. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for that rock bottom on here. You can also search by store number. And if you're setting a table up or tearing one down, that's where you click on perform action. This one's actually new. I haven't seen this one before. So you're going to go through and fill out all of these boxes, right? So your visit type, June 29th, every single one will be a setup, right? Bids collected. No bids collected because we're setting the bids up for the first time, right? Setup style, 6 foot with banner and panorama. That's the full setup. We're not going to do a banner or panorama only. The only other thing that we most likely will do is a 6 foot with no banner and no panorama. I say that because there are some stores, even though they'll have us, like there was a CB and Potts up here. We couldn't fit the banner next to the table anywhere because we had such a small space. If we have to remove that, that's completely okay. At some stores or hotels especially, people will kick the panoramic one that's like on the bottom, so it's just in the way. So if all we have is the table itself and nothing in front or to the side of it, that's where you'll click no banner, no panorama. Again, if we mess this up, it's not like the end of the world as long as all the bid sheets are full. So let's say we have a full setup with all 9 pieces, right? That's literally all you have to do besides take a photo. So take a photo on your phone and upload it into here. You can do this all from your phone as well. You can log on your phone and do it. It's actually way easier on a website though too. So you'll take the photo, you'll submit and you'll finish it. That's telling community auctions that we're ready to go. We're collecting bids for the next 6 weeks. Easy peasy. So just so I don't have to do it again, weeks 2 through 5, when you're doing the bid refreshes. So week 2, Maggie's done with work. Megan gives us half days for the rest of the year. So she leaves at 11 o'clock to go through 2 or 3 restaurants. She stops at rock bottom. She collects her bids, right? So there's writing on the bids. She collects all 9 of them. She sets new ones down, right? Make sure there's pens there. You come back, you log in. Visit type is just refresh. Then you go to bids collected. right? There's no setup style. There shouldn't be. And then, actually, you don't do that here. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. You'll log in, you'll come here, and then this is where you click on enter bids, right? So you'll go here. I'll show you guys this is the bidder information that you're going to collect. This is what the bid looks like, right? This is not.
You have to reshare the screen.
Worst at that.
I'm sure we can all get it.
I don't like that it just doesn't automatically go.
Well, you could share your whole screen, but then everybody's.
Can everyone see the bid?
Yep. Yes.
We want a bid with everything filled out because that means we get more money, right? So every bid is labeled. It has a minimum bid on it. And then people will write their information here, as you can see, okay? A little tip with this, because you have to enter bids by store number. If you have 3 stores, if you can write the store number on each bid sheet, that will help you when you're uploading stuff at the end of that day, or if you're doing it on your phone, just so you don't mess something up, right? So I'm gonna go back to this, yay. So what you'll do is you'll enter all that information into here. So my phone number, blah, 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 and then a note. You don't have to put anything in the note section, except if someone bids less than the minimum or more than $500. I will add that note to the training guide, but that is a call out for them when they run their report. They actually go to those first, and then when they call those people, they will say, they'll make sure that the minimum bid is what it is before they sell it. And believe it or not, like, we've sold a couple things over $500 before. I don't know what they do with that information, but I know they make that a priority to settle that. So you can just put bid 550, something like that. Again, if you miss something like this, not the end of the world, right? So then you're going to scroll down to the items that were bid on. There's 9 possible items max, right? So item 1 is going to be, let's say, the Broncos Super Bowl 50 banner. Again, you're just going to go off what the bid sheet says itself. It'll have this SP number, and you'll be able to tell by the label of the plaque what it is. And the bid amount for this guy is going to be $165. And then you do that for every bid for every store. Okay. So this is the time consuming part until you get used to it. I will say personally, on the phone, it takes forever. I'm also just terrible at being on my phone and typing stuff. I found it easier to collect everything, get home, sit on my laptop, and then tab through and just enter everything in one spot on the website, right? So any questions on like the bid refresh process and what you need to do after you collect the bids each week?
So real quick, this needs to be entered on Friday as well. Like this is like a time thing.
Because you have to give them a business day to get it and then start their calls. So if you can get this on Friday, great. If it's Monday morning, it is what it is. Even if you do it on Saturday or Sunday, like as long as they get it Monday morning to start making calls, that's how we can max out on our profit.
Do you only enter the highest bid, or do you have to enter all the?
You enter everything.
Okay.
So if there's 10 bidders on that, you're going to do this 10 times for that one plaque. Again, the more we're entering into here, the better it is for us. So we want full sheets. How this works is it's technically a silent auction, but they say everyone wins. So like they call the highest bidder first, and then they'll call and be like, do you want to support Special Olympics? We can still get you the plaque. Like that is my understanding. So I'm guessing that's how it works. I kind of stay away from that. That's how they can sell more than one to an extent. So
gotcha. Can you go down again, Chop, to show us that again? That's helpful to know that we submit the same thing. So under Super Bowl banner 50, you'd write 150. How would you enter in multiple bids for that one item?
You have to enter a new bid for a new person. So you're not
like refresh and do the next thing. Okay.
Here's another trick with doing it on your website, like at your desk, right? So if I'm Shop City, and you'll believe it or not, there's a lot of people who will bid on everything or like 5 items. If you lay your bid sheets out and I bid on 5 things, I can enter all 5 of my bids right here. So you're not going back in, retyping the same information. Again, you guys do it however you want. Before I realized that, I would just go through each piece, and it took forever. Once I kind of took my time and I highlighted people, I had 5 bids. I'm going to throw this in there now. It went way quicker.
Gotcha. And then you just
highlight if you do it on a computer, it will save the people. So let's say you did forget, like you missed that Chop bid on 3 things, and you go in to type his stuff again, it'll pop up, and so you can just click it.
Yeah, when you hit C, it should say Chop City, enter, and then you
Yeah.
can tab. Again, the computer is way quicker.
Yeah.
If there's a couple of bids, do it on your phone, but the more bids you have, this is way faster. So,
Okay,
does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
good question.
So any other questions on this bid stuff before I close this screen? And then all you do is literally submit it, and then you're done.
The bid 550 at the top, the third field that you filled out.
What's that?
What was the bid 550? What is that again?
This is the bidder note. So if someone bids below the minimum or higher than 500, it is still 500, right, guys?
Okay, okay.
You'll just put that note in there. Again, if it's missed, they'll catch it and notice it. That's just something they asked us to do. Not overly concerned, but again, you'll get the hang of it once you start doing it. So, and then that's it.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The item numbers, are they store specific?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it helps to write them on there. Because, I mean, there are times we'll be in like 5 rock bottoms at one time. So you need to make sure you're entering it in the correct location as you do it. So they'll be on the bid sheets as well. So the bid sheet itself, you'll be able to like write it down. That's the easiest way to do it. Trust me. Because when you mix up the bids, it's just like, oh, well. But yes, every location has its own number. Any other questions on this?
I was just gonna add, it is a weird format that everyone wins, and so the community will ask, like people will reach out to us and say, "Are you guys really partnering with these guys? Like we're confused. Is this a real fundraiser?" So just be aware of that. Like it is kind of a strange concept.
And you can what I've told them too is like, well, we don't contact the winners, so there's a possibility community auctions will call the highest bidder and then they don't want it anymore. Then they'll call the next person. I'll be honest, like this is where you need to put your salesman hat on and be like, you know, you guys can buy this plaque and get this and we get a kickback, but you can just donate to us 100% too. And that's actually worked like 5 or 6 times. So like, again, be creative with it, but that does happen. That's a great point, Vic. People will call and make sure this is real. Any other questions on the bid process? Sweet. So let me go back to this. So that's what weeks 2 through 5 are. Those are the easy ones. Those are the only time you're spending is driving time, right? So you can plan around that with your day, blah, 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 pick the bid sheets up. I recommend having pens and bid sheets in your car, extra ones, once the week starts or the cycle starts, so you can quickly refresh them. Again, if there's no bids on a bid sheet, just leave that blank one down. No need to change it out, okay? And then week 6, this is where things kind of can get tricky. It's the last week of the bid refresh, but you also might have to tear down and you also might have to set up another store. So for the people that do it consistently, again, we kind of have our processes down, but let's say Shaka and Ben and Rick and his UCS peeps want to take 6 stores for 2 cycles. This is where, again, planning comes key, right? So if you look at your task list and you're tearing down all 5 of the stores you're responsible for, but then there's 5 new stores on there, you really want to like GPS and navigate, you know, what's the quickest way for me to go about tearing down this store to setting up this store. That way you only have 1 or 2 sets of stuff for store in your car at a time. You're setting up new ones. You're tearing these down to set up another one. It can be a lot, and it can take a full day at times, depending how many stores you have and how organized you are. But again, once you get through that process once or twice, that could take a lot of time. So when you see those task lists, you may really have to plan for that and just take into account weeks 1 and 6 are always going to be the most time consuming because you're setting up and possibly tearing down and resetting up again. Does that make sense? Okay.
Quick note, when you go to hotels, go in, say what you're there for, and then ask if you can borrow like a dolly or a suitcase thing, because then you can just load it all up once, roll it out, put it in your car, and then you're done. Just so you know. That's the best way to do it.
Hotels are the best, believe it or not. They make a ton of money too. Sweet. And then it's the same thing over and over. So a cycle is ideally 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks, people will be responsible for X number of stores, and we'll kind of go from there. Ideally, again, this is going to be liquid as we go. 1 person could do 3 stores in a half a day easily, whether it's week 1 or 6. That's how I'm going to look at assigning people if we need help as we move forward. So just keep that in the back of your mind, right? Just get more bang for your buck. If someone's driving anyway, they might as well spend an extra 15 minutes on the road to do 3 to 5 stores versus just having one, right? So, so that's what this is. We're going to set up, we're going to enter information, we're going to collect money, right? And then every week, Becky's going to get an email with a breakdown of every single store, which is crazy, which is awesome, which helps her out. So we're all very appreciative of that because we love Becky and we want her to be happy because she does so much for us, right? So that's exciting. And it also helps us with the local program kickback. So we know that Karen has 5 stores in Colorado Springs. She manages these 5 specifically. They're going to get the direct kickback from those 5 stores, right? Easy peasy. Again, next up, I have the storage unit information. The Southeast Regional Manager, so Tasha will be in charge of this. There's a unit down there that you guys will start at on Monday. Again, the address, the gate code, the updated lot code, which they sent us was wrong, but it does work. I promise you, Kyle and Tasha have both been there. And that's where everything will be stored for the Pueblo stores and the Colorado Springs stores. And then Fort Collins and Greeley, Lauren will manage through her Fort Collins unit or her Greeley unit separately. And then she's going to assist Adrian with the Denver North stores because that's in Thornton, literally right off 84th Street, right off I-25. It's kind of like the middle ground of both regions. So that's something we'll all tackle together. Again, storage information for that. And then Denver South as well, which is in Littleton, which is conveniently right by Corey. So Corey always has access. And if I need anything, I'm just going to bug him. I know he loves that. So that's where all the storage units are that we'll start with. Honestly, most of you guys will never have to go there outside of this very first setup because all of the plaques, all of the, everything is going to be in the field, right? So it's going to be taking down from somewhere to set up somewhere else. But just so you guys have it, it will be in there. It is on that community auctions master document on the H drive as well. Here are our official leads. So it'll be myself, Corey, Adrian, Lauren, and Tasha. We will get that information every week. Moving forward, like we've added the interns to that list. It's easy for them to just add people to their email list every Friday, but I don't want your guys' inboxes getting flooded, especially if you're not helping every single week, right? So when we get those emails, we will 100% communicate that or have a plan if someone's on FTO to get that information to everyone that's involved during that cycle, okay? So we got a bunch of our interns on there right now, and it's gonna be great moving forward, so. And then at the bottom here, I have a couple notes, just things to consider. Plan ahead. The more you guys plan ahead, the easier this is going to be on everyone and the more time you're going to save throughout the day. Sit down, take an hour at your desk to GPS your route, figure all of that stuff out. You do it week 1, then you know what to do for the next 5 weeks. You don't got to do it again till week 1 of the next cycle, right? Always have pens in your car and have extra bid sheets. They do provide blank bid sheets where you can actually write the name in. So even if you guys want to take some of those, just to have in your car, again, only if you have stores. That way you can fill everything out and just leave it in your car. I always had it in my trunk. I'm sure Ashton and Lauren and Tasha and them did too. It's just easier than like, crap, I forgot this. I got to come back. Don't have to worry about it. As I mentioned earlier, we're not responsible for any damaged or stolen property. If something is damaged or stolen, contact one of the leads. We'll contact community auctions. We'll figure out a way to get it back to them and they'll send us new stuff if need be. That being said, we do have enough inventory in every single storage unit, plus 4. So Colorado Springs should have 14 of everything. The 2 Denver units should have 24 of everything. So if something's broken, we can just take it back to the unit, replace it with a new one the next time you're out there, and boom, go from there. I will say, if you guys are out, you pick up broken stuff, don't feel like you have to go replace that day. We can just remove that piece, make the table look nice, and then plan on doing it on your following Friday. If you have time to do it, great. If it's not really out of your way, great. Their expectation from us, because this job is so huge for us, is that every Friday is going to be, again, our community auctions day. So make a note to yourself in your phone. Know that you're going to have to bring a new Ali versus Beatles plaque because one was broken last week to this hotel, right? So don't feel like you have to make your whole day around this if there is an issue with something. Again, knowing your business opens and closes, that's probably the most important part of this. And as Vic mentioned, people may call us, but employees may also ask how this works. I recommend saving this PDF to your phone, just utilizing info from those first 2 type-ups that I had. Again, once you do this once, you're just going to know how to talk your way through it. It's really super simple. So does anyone have any questions about this process, what it looks like, before I talk about Monday and Tuesday, June 20th?
Now, you said that we are we actually collecting money?
No.
Or No money at all.
Us collecting bid sheets, Frida. So community auctions, when we upload that information, community auctions will go to store 27951. That's Rock Bottom Brewery that Maggie did. And there were 27 bids that day. They call those people, they collect the credit card information, they store it. That will actually be sent to Becky as well. Like Becky will have all that information on our end, which helps us big time. But they do all the shipping, all of that stuff. We handle none of getting the plaques or memorabilia to them or any cash handling, nothing like that. Everything is done electronically via community auctions.
Now, okay, where does the bank come in at? You said that the bank closes at 6, but your business.
I was using that as an example. So Frida, if you have 3 stores that you're doing and you have a bank as an example, they're only open from 8 to 5. But if you're doing a Texas Roadhouse and a Chili's, they typically don't open until 4 p.m. Right? So you don't want to leave at 10 a.m. to do a bank and then get to Texas Roadhouse and Chili's and be like, crap, they're not open. You're just wasting the day at that point. That's all I meant by plan on when those restaurants or businesses open and close, so you can find a 2-hour gap to do your driving, bid refreshes, and uploads. That's all that meant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes good sense.
Any other specific questions before I touch on the 29th? Sweet.
Very
Okay.
thorough. Thank you.
I know, I'm sorry. I just want you guys to be prepared so you're not like, I didn't expect it to go this long either. So for Monday the 29th, right now, just so you guys know, we have 5 people already ready for the Denver North unit and the Northeast Colorado, so we're good there. Adrian has DPR himself and 2 interns ready to go, so I might ask 1 or 2 people for help for a minimal number of stores, and then I know we'll definitely need help in the springs. So unfortunately, I don't have the task list yet of businesses for the first week. I might not get that till literally Friday the 26th, and we're setting up on the 29th, right? So all the people that accepted the invitation, I'm gonna reach out to you separately if I need you to help at one of those locations. So unless you hear from me, you're off the hook for this first cycle, at least for the setup. Once we get the setup of week 1 done, that is where I'm gonna sit down, and then maybe we'll assign some staff like, hey, can you do the bid refreshes at least for the next 5 weeks, right? So Corey has all 3 vans reserved. We should be able to do all 62 stores in one day. That's my plan. That's my hope. We're dedicated to that. If there's issues, we might jump into Tuesday. But the whole point of today is, if I need you, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I'll send you exactly what stores to go to help set up. And we're going to do it in partners. So you're not going to be on your own for this first week. So unless you hear from me, like at some point Friday or first thing Monday morning, you're off the hook for that setup for that first week. We probably won't utilize more staff until we actually just do the bid refreshes and we kind of get into a flow. Does that all make sense and sound good? If I had the stores, I'd assign it today, but unfortunately we're at their behest with that, right? So as soon as I get those stores, everyone will know. With the amount of interns we have, honestly, in our leads, it's not going to be a lot each week right now. But we will take stuff off their plate, so it's not Adrian doing 20 stores and Lauren doing 20 and all that stuff. So I appreciate all you guys. Sorry this took so friggin' long. I will have this recording saved on our YouTube channel. If you ever have any questions, reach out to one of the leads. We've done this before. It really is super easy once you do it once or twice. So I appreciate your time. If I reach out to you Friday or Monday, the 26th or 29th, I'm going to need you. So.
Hey, Chap. I'm not sure if Aspen and Beth are both going to be able to help out on the 29th, so it may just be one of them.
Okay.
So if I could get an extra pair of hands or two people up there to help us out, that would be really helpful.
And if you guys are willing, just email Adrian directly and you guys can set that up. But I will send more information on this during virtual summer games week with what we're going to need at what unit and who should be there. So
cool.
Thanks guys. Sorry it took 41 minutes.
That was a long 12-minute training.
Right? It was 12 minutes yesterday.
That was so thorough. Thank you so much for putting together this really comprehensive.
Real quick, sorry. Jen, will you stop the recording? And then I can just use this as the training video.